Good evening and welcome back. Michael Joseph has recently completed his tour of duty as the board chairman of Kenya Airways, while also resigning from his post as the chairman of the Global Partnership for Ethiopia, or Safaricom Ethiopia. Joseph spoke to our business reporter Kefa Muiruri this past week, reflecting on his different roles over the years in Kenya, while sharing on what comes next for him. Take a look.
NTV sat down with Michael Joseph last Friday at the occasion of his last annual general meeting as the chairman of Kenya Airways. This also came weeks after his resignation as the board chairman for Safaricom Ethiopia. We began this interview by asking him about his future plans.
You know, for me, I want to continue doing things that are interesting and intellectually challenging. The reason why I took this job at Kenya Airways originally was because, from my point of view, other than being the national airline, which I knew nothing about, I'm not an airline expert, now I know a little bit more about airline industry, was because I found it intellectually challenging. I think it's not over. I would not say this is over. I don't see me, I think you'll be seeing me around, maybe not in such a visible position in a public company like Kenya Airways or Safaricom Ethiopia, but I think you'll see me around. There's many interesting things that I still want to do and that I am doing and looking at. So yeah, I think you'll see me. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm definitely not retiring. I can tell you that. Because I think once you stop being intellectually challenged, then I think you can might as well just, stop. You're doing whatever you're doing. I don't have any hobbies. I'm not going home to work on my shamba or anything of that nature. Yeah. I'm still involved in conservation, not so publicly maybe, but I'm still the chairman of Lower Conservancy. I'm still on the board of Circle Gas, Pula, and our foundation. So I think you'll see me around. I'm a great believer in that life will present us with opportunities to us, to everybody, and whether you take them or not is up to you. I still think as long as you're open to possibilities and opportunities of interest, then we can go on for as long as you want. Of course, you have to remain relevant. We're moving in a different era now, intellectually, technically. Look at our industry, even the telecom industry, how much it's grown in 25 years. It's amazing that it was just only 2000 when I came to Kenya to start Safaricom, and look at the phones and how much advanced it is. So you have to remain technically relevant. And I think as long as you can be relevant and you can make a good contribution, then I will continue. Even if you look back at Safaricom, when I came to Kenya in 2000 to start Safaricom, it was not easy. We had no money. The total in the money that the shareholders put into Kenya, into Safaricom, was $20 million. Don't forget that. We started out, the reason, for those of you who got longer memories, why we had challenges in the network and all this stuff, that congestion in the network, was because we didn't have any money. And of course we were successful, we were hugely successful, and we grew the company. It was incredibly rewarding experience. Those time that I served as CEO twice, chairman, was incredibly rewarding. Taking that experience and going to Ethiopia, where we have also fighting a very big competitor, a national competitor, it's very challenging, but also rewarding because you can put your experience to use. Coming to Kenya Airways was a very different experience for me. I was asked by the previous government to take over the chairmanship of the board. I did not know what I was getting myself into. Probably if I had known, I might have said no. But when your president asks you to do something, then you can't normally say no. But it has been a different experience, but in another way, an extremely rewarding experience, because you're taking something that is really struggling, and everybody writes really writes your gravestone, already your demise, and to turn it into where we are today, where we are becoming profitable, where we are, we're doing a great job, better job. Planes are full. I think it's still incredibly rewarding, but challenging, of course challenging. But for me, that's what makes life interesting.
Next, I asked Michael Joseph about his personality. Michael has always been known as a tough talker, taking no prisoners. Has this ever gotten him in trouble?
Many times. But when you are a leader, I learned this lesson a long time ago. When you are a leader, you have to lead from the front. You can't lead from behind. And you have to be seen to be the leader. And you do make mistakes. You do make wrong decisions, and you have to live with them. But in my nature has got me into trouble for sure. It has got me I'm not known as a diplomat. That has got me into trouble, yes. Got me into where perhaps if I was more diplomatic, more tactful, I would be in another job today. But I'm not. I'm very grateful that before I came to Kenya, I wanted to stay in Europe as a CEO of a big telecom company. Yeah. But they said my personality, my nature, you're too abrasive, you know. Yeah. You better go to Africa. And I'm very, very grateful for that because I loved my time here.
Lastly, I asked Michael about the future of Kenya Airways. Michael has expressed his frustration about the lack of support for the national carrier. Where does he leave KQ?
Look, you have to look at the turnaround. What was it? If you're a financial analyst, look at the turnaround. Yes, it was a turnaround, but do we generate enough cash to expand the network, to expand our airline, and to grow the airline? No, we don't. So I think that the naysayers are still out there. I think what my disappointment is, and I say this to you knowing that probably it might not be received well, but people still don't appreciate what Kenya Airways brings to the country. I think people not people, let me not say people. Yeah. Let me say the people that should, the people that count, the government, the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Finance, the tourism industry, they don't see the importance of Kenya Airways to this country. You know, I always say that this Kenya Airways is not just a business, it's a strategic asset for the country. But we don't get the support that we need to get to make sure that we remain a strategic asset. If we lose this airline, it'll be a tremendous blow to Kenya. Not to the shareholders, yes, it'll be a blow, but to Kenya. You know, Kenya, Nairobi, sits in the middle of Africa. We should be the business capital of Africa. We should be. We have the best climate, we have the best schools, we have the best people with well-trained, entrepreneurial people, but we are in danger of losing it to Kigali. We already lost it to Dubai to some extent. And if we lose our airline, we lose this, making this the business capital for Africa. I don't think you guys, the media, even understand that. Because you talk about us like a business. Yes, we lose money. Yes, sometimes we're late. I mean, every airline, every single day, probably this very minute, there's probably a couple of thousand people around the world waiting for airline that are late. It's not the end of the world when a plane is late, but you make it like it's a very negative thing for the airline. The media is still not a positive about it. You're better. I even remarked on it just now. You're better now than what you used to be. But I think the powers that be, and I say this now, don't see this. It should be much more supportive of our airline. You look at the Fly Kenya Act. There's a rule that government people should fly Kenya Airways. They find every trick in the book not to fly Kenya Airways. Oh, we're not flying that route. Oh, the timing is wrong. Let's rather fly Emirates. Let's rather fly ET, whatever it may be. In America, no government official can fly on a non-American plane. Not allowed. Full stop. You can't buy a ticket. It doesn't matter. It should be the same here. We should have much more support from the people that count in this airline. And I'm sorry, I think it's not. I'm frustrated because even in trying to find a strategic investor for the airline, we need the government to come positively and support us. But we wait a year, more than a year now, for that support. I don't think that's right. I don't think nationalization is the right way to go. Many people we talked about earlier about the bailout. Kenya Airways has not been bailed out by government. We got some money during COVID because many airlines around the world were facing elimination. During COVID, we got some money from the government. It was a loan. It was never a bailout. It was not a grant. Many airlines around the world got grants to the airlines, from their governments to keep them going. That's the only where you can say it was a bailout. Everything else has been a loan. So I think nationalization is not the answer. I think just support, proper outward visible support is the answer. Yeah. In the previous administration, the IMF spent a lot of time, the World Bank and the IMF spent a lot of time looking at Kenya and trying to do what they, post-COVID, helping with budgetary support post-COVID. And Kenya Airways was a subject of that. And during that, they did a lot of analysis. We did a lot of, we hired consultants at our cost to go through Project Kifaro to see whether it's visible. And we got the support at that from the IMF saying, yes. And I think it was, I'm not sure, I'm not sure I'm right, if it's the World Bank or the IMF, it might be both, said, yes, we see this as a viable proposition to take to support Kenya Airways financially. And there was actually money in the budget, from their budget support to the Kenyan government for Kenya Airways, because they recognized the importance of Kenya Airways. Unfortunately, the timing of the new administration coming in, they had a lot more demands on their hands. I think there was a drought. I think, was it a drought? It was extreme. I can't remember now. Drought, whatever it was. There was a lot more demands on the Kenyan government, and this portion of the IMF support fell away. If we had got that, we would have been good. We would have been in good shape.
One-on-one there with Michael Joseph. Now, Police Constable James Muhwana will remain in